As a parent, watching your once full of life teenager transform into someone that's withdrawn, constantly overwhelmed, or struggling with anxiety or depression can be heart wrenching. You've likely consulted various healthcare providers, tried different approaches, and perhaps even considered medication. Your teen struggles still are continuing. What if I told you that the root cause might not be the chemical imbalance that most conventional doctors continue to blame these rapidly exploding teen challenges on? The United States is facing an unprecedented mental health crisis among adolescents. According to recent CDC data, 44% of American high school students report persistent feelings of sadness or hopelessness. Even more alarming, nearly 1 in 3 teenage girls report having seriously contemplated suicide, twice the rate for boys. While traditional medicine typically addresses these challenges with medications aimed at correcting presumed chemical imbalances, many parents find that these approaches merely mask the symptoms rather than address underlying causes. What if there was a different perspective, one that explored the neurological roots of your teen's anxiety and depression and offered a drug free option instead of just more and more medication? This video is for any parents who are exhausted and heartbroken watching their teenagers struggle with anxiety and depression, especially those who've tried conventional approaches without seeing lasting improvement, and who are searching for answers that address root causes rather than just using medications or even supplements to try and cover up the symptoms. We're going to explore how your teen's anxiety and depression may be connected to neurological imbalances, specifically dysautonomia, subluxation, and vagus nerve dysfunction. You'll learn why the traditional chemical imbalance models fall short and how modern lifestyles create a perfect storm of nervous system stress. And most importantly, how neurologically focused chiropractic care can help restore balance and proper function naturally. The prevalence of mental health issues among youth has approximately doubled from 2011 to 2020. What's particularly interesting is that during the same period, we've been seeing some positive trends for young people, including reduced alcohol consumption and fewer teen pregnancies. Yet anxiety and depression have continued to surge across all demographics. When we look at the statistics more closely, female adolescents are more than twice as likely as males to experience anxiety, 31% versus 12%, and depression, 25% compared to 10%. These aren't just numbers, they represent real teenagers who are suffering, families who are struggling to help them, and a generation whose mental well being is at stake. Many researchers have noticed that the sharp rise in teen mental health issues coincided with the widespread adoption of smartphones around 2012, pointing to digital technology as a significant factor. But as we'll explain, the full picture of how this happens is much more complex and begins much earlier in life. Let's first understand teen anxiety and depression from a neurological perspective. Conventional medicine typically views anxiety and depression as chemical imbalances in the brain that need to be corrected with medication. But this model misses the deeper neurological foundations. From a neurological perspective, these conditions are often connected to imbalances in the autonomic nervous system, specifically between the sympathetic, that fight or flight system, and the parasympathetic rest and digest functions. This neurological imbalance, called dysautonomia, represents a crucial but often overlooked root cause that can leave teens stuck in a persistent state of stress and emotional dysregulation. Now let's talk about the critical role that the vagus nerve plays in emotional regulation. The vagus nerve is the primary component of the parasympathetic nervous system and plays a crucial role in emotional regulation, stress recovery, and social connection. This wandering nerve connects the brain to vital organs and helps regulate heart rate, breathing, digestion, inflammation, and emotional states. Research shows that lower vagal tone is significantly linked to challenges in managing emotions and a heightened sensitivity to stress. Exactly what we see with teens in anxiety and depression. When the vagus nerve function is compromised due to subluxation and nervous system stress, it affects your teen's ability to calm themselves, process emotions, and maintain balanced mood states. This creates what we call the perfect storm, leading to teen mental health issues. This neurological dysfunction often begins before birth, with maternal stress during pregnancy affecting the developing fetal nervous system through stress hormones that cross the placenta every time. Birth interventions like forceps, deliveries, or C-sections can cause subtle injuries to the upper neck and brainstem regions, potentially affecting the vagus nerve and leading to subluxation. Early childhood factors continue building the foundation for later challenges, including repeated infections, frequent antibiotic use, disrupting the gut-brain axis, environmental toxins, and physical injuries. Modern lifestyle factors significantly amplify these neurological imbalances, including digital technology, sleep disruption, decreased physical activity, and poor nutrition affecting the gut microbiome and vagal function. Now, how do we recognize signs of nervous system dysfunction in your teen? There's first physical signs like sleep disturbances, appetite changes, digestive issues, continually getting sick, fatigue and exhaustion, and restlessness often reflect an underlying neurological imbalance. Then we get into emotional indicators such as persistent sadness, excessive worry, irritability, and loss of interest stem from an autonomic nervous system stuck in sympathetic dominance. We also see behavioral challenges, including social withdrawal, declining academic performance, and increased sensitivity to criticism frequently signal nervous system dysfunction and dysregulation, rather than just typical teen behavior. And finally, here's how we truly find the root cause, or the nervous system imbalance, dysregulation, and dysautonomia. At Generations Chiropractic, we use advanced insight scanning technologies to directly measure nervous system function and identify specific areas of dysregulation and dysautonomia, with HRV being our most important scan for anxiety and depression. Here is a sequence of HRV scans from one person, starting all the way on the left with someone who was struggling a lot with anxiety and depression. And as we move through this, we can see that white dot moving closer and closer to that black line and into that green box. Based on these assessments, we develop personalized care plans, including specialized adjustments designed to release excessive sympathetic fight or flight activity while stimulating the vagus nerve and parasympathetic function. By addressing these neurological imbalances, we help restore proper communication pathways between the brain and body, creating the physiological foundation for improved emotional health and mood regulation. Simply put, it's not easy being a teen in today's crazy world. Thankfully, they have a remarkable ability to bounce back and become resilient, adaptable, and joyful once again. The teen brain and nervous system is going through so many changes all at once. And once we get stuck in that sympathetic stress, tension, and subluxation and exhaustion out of the way for them, it's programmed for healing and recovery. And that's the good news. At Generations Chiropractic, we've helped so many kids and teens struggling with anxiety and depression thrive once again, all without dangerous drugs and medications. Not because we treat or cure anxiety, depression, or mental health challenges, but because we address their foundational root cause, nervous system stress, dysregulation, and imbalance. Parents often tell us that they feel renewed hope after learning about this nervous system focused and drug-free approach to healing. They're relieved to discover that there's a different path that they can take, one that doesn't rely on potentially dangerous medications with long-term side effects, but instead focuses on restoring proper function to the systems that naturally regulate mood, stress, and emotional well-being. If your teen is struggling with anxiety or depression, it's likely that their nervous system is imbalanced and dysregulated, and it's time to find out. Check the link in our bio on Instagram to find out more.